football trainers, and as well as Guido. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. I give you the microphone. Take it away, Maestro. Oh, wait.
Yeah, because I saw Niels doing his backflip, I thought like I have to do something related to movement. Yeah, my name is Guido. Movement has been one of my passions for a long time already. Even before I did it consciously, I was all the time lost for my parents and hugging someone's leg, and then they were like, where is he? And then I was hugging someone's leg again, a stranger. So I want to start with a little story, then I want to tell my vision about movement and why I think that we all take our body sometimes for granted, especially when we sit too much. And then I want to invite you to move a little bit. Don't worry, you can just keep your clothes on. Don't have to take on other clothes. And then afterwards I want to invite you all free to join with the quiz. Maybe we do a little break in between. But let me start with a story. I was actually 2.5 years ago working at the gym, and I saw so many people going through the motions. Does anyone here go to the gym? Yeah. And that's great. Like, I really respect people that are paying conscious attention to their health, and I really like to move, so gym is a very good part. But when it's not done properly, or when you're moving through the motions, you can actually hurt more than you can build. And that's what I saw happening a lot. You know, I don't want to mention names or call out anything bad, but I just want to say, like, be very mindful of what you're doing, because your body is like your most amazing tool. And some people are just like trying to build the external part and they don't pay attention to the internal part so much. So what I saw, so many people full of anxiety, stress, and they didn't feel well about themselves, and they were just like training their ego instead of they really came to the core of the problem. And it was actually kind of like ironic, because the last group training I gave, I just started the warm-up and I got a phone call. It was on the gym, because I don't have my phone in my pocket when I give training, so it was on the gym's phone, and it was like one of my colleagues saying, "Hey Guido, it's your father." And he sounded very stressed, very upset. And I was like, huh? My father said here, he's never upset, so what happened? And then I heard him, and he was like telling me, like, Guido, something really bad happened with your grandmother. And she fell on the back of her head, and she's on the way to the hospital. And you know, that moment really touched me, because I had a choice of going to her and just directly visiting her, but I knew that I had to give a training. So I was like, I cannot really help her right now. So by not going, I will actually help these people getting fit. So that's why I just sort of made that decision without really considering all the odds. I just thought I can't influence what happened to her, so I will just finish my training here. And like, she stayed for 2 full weeks in coma, and we were really not knowing if we would ever speak to her again. And then when she finally came out of that coma, it was so crazy, because she always takes great care of my grandfather, and we were looking like, what is she ever gonna recover? Like, is she ever gonna recover? And for the record, my grandmother is 77 now. She's still alive, but what she explained me was super valuable to me, because what she said was, can I do yoga class here? That was like one of the first things that she really consciously remembers of that she said. When she came back out of that coma after 2 weeks of not knowing anything, she said, can I do something like yoga here? And I was like, that's amazing. Like that, after 2 weeks not knowing anything, laying totally flat, and then you come back and just the thing that you think of is yoga. And I was like, wow. And then she was doing a yoga class, actually in her recovery center. She was doing a yoga class, and then she couldn't do anything. Like, my grandmother is quite fit, like she's now 77, she still gives, she just reduced her classes a week to 5. She just, before she gave 6 classes, now she gives 5 classes. But what is amazing about it is that she was asking like, hey, can I do yoga? She directly, like within a week or 2, she was doing a first yoga class after the coma, and she couldn't really move. Like, what she said was like, yeah, I was not able to do all the things that I could do before. And she saw an opposite of her. There was sitting a guy without, was missing one leg. And then she looked and she thought like, wow, like I was complaining about what I cannot do, but this guy is just joining the class and he hasn't even got 2 legs. So, be very mindful of what you complain about. Because even on the left of her, there was, that's what she explained to me today actually, even on the left, because I had to know my story, right? So even on the left of her, there was sitting a woman and there was missing one arm. So she just came out of coma, she was doing a yoga class and she was like there. And first complaining about what she could do, but then she was actually, she turned that complaining into something that she was very grateful for. And she actually became like silent in her head. She was like, I'm so grateful that I can do this class again. And that's also like a short reminder for myself, like how grateful are all of us here that we can just focus on our health, right? Like it's not even a primary need almost anymore. It's something that is like external, and we go to centers for it and saunas and stuff, and we have our health. It's like sort of something external where we can work on. And like the quote that I really stay with is, those who don't make time for their health now have to make time for their illness or disease later. Because your health is such a primary need. Like your first wealth is health. There's nothing like that can come between that. And step by step you will realize that. Especially when you go through something so heavy trauma. And that's just what really stood with me. Because now, today, she's still giving 5 yoga classes. And she's 77. And I was like, is that super genes? Is she superwoman? Or like, does anybody have here a grandmother of 77 that is like still giving yoga classes? No, I mean, I would love to hear about it. I mean, I didn't hear it before, and I have to say, like, I'm sure there are in the world other grandmas who are doing it, but I just see my grandmother as a...
She has a mother.
She has a mother, oh. So, what is funny is that, like, I see her really as a superwoman since then. And I think, like, that we could all see ourselves also a little bit more as superhumans, because we are able to move. Like, our bodies are designed to move. Your body is designed to move. That's why I want to invite you to just raise your hands above your shoulders. So if you can't lift them all the way up, just raise them above your shoulders in front of you. I want to invite you to do that. Very good. Now you open your arms like this, hand palm exactly, and then you bring them towards you and up both of them exactly like that. And now you try to raise them as high as you can above you. Exactly. And now what is funny is that who thinks that this is heavy? Now you can talk. And the funny thing is, like, it's not, you can stay for a while if you want. The funny thing is that it's not heavy right now, but if you stay with it, it will become heavy, right? Okay, you can lower now. Thank you. And the funny thing about it is that if you do certain things, you can get that metaphor. Like, some things, they are not very heavy, but if you stay with them for such a long time and you don't pay attention to them, the thing doesn't get heavier, but it will hurt you eventually. Right? So, what I really found out about my own journey, like, I really like the sun, and I like to move closer to the sun. And to make sort of a link with the talks we've seen before, I think when you stay close to the sun and all your food sources stay directly close to the sun, you are vibrating higher energy, right? And that's something that I deeply believe in myself. Like if you are staying close to the sun and you are more outside than average, because we are human beings, we're designed to be outside, right? Nobody, there's this beautiful commercial, nobody is really an indoor human. Who believes in that? Let me reverse that, like who believes that you're actually designed to sit inside? Right, so we all believe together that we're designed to sit outside, or not sit actually, to move outside, right? So how many times a week do you move outside? Who moves more than once a week outside? And I don't mean just cycling to your work, right? So that doesn't count, sorry. Especially to my father. No, okay, so and more than 2 times a week. Keep raising that. More than 2 times a week moving outside. More than 3 times? 4 times? 4? 5? Cool. So the reason that I ask, I just want to like pay close attention to that, because if you make this a daily habit, like why wouldn't you do it daily, right? It doesn't really make sense to me that people are like doubting, should I go outside today? Like, of course, you're designed to. Like, we really have to pay attention to our body. Like, inside, there is so less oxygen than outside. So you will actually inhale less quality oxygen when you sit inside. Offices are even worse. Gyms are even worse. Like, there's so much dust there that you have to go outside and breathe fresh oxygen. Feels nice, right? Like if you walk through, across the river or something that you really breathe and think like, wow, this feels nice. So, shouldn't you do that every day? Like, aren't we designed to do that every day? I'm a firm believer of that. So that's why I have a big invitation for all of you. But before that, I want to ask you a question, and you can just answer it if you have, like, you don't have to raise your hands, you can just like shout, but I'm gonna sum up some benefits and then you can tell me what kind of product or something I'm talking about. Yeah? Are you ready? So this, what I'm talking about, helps you to stay young. It actually helps your body to release toxins. It helps your whole system to process toxins. So next to that, it helps you to feel good. It helps you to stay fluid and functional. And it also, you actually consist for more than 60% of it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Of course. So that's not very difficult, right? But I just want to address that because I don't know if you hear this as well, but I find it quite dangerous that some people are nowadays saying, yeah, but I'm not really a fan of water, or I don't really like water. Like, how can you say this? You exist for more than 60% of it. Like, you cannot say that. You're actually like giving negative feedback towards yourself when you say that. So what is super important for me about it is that water is such a vital ingredient of, yeah, a daily activity that you should do. Like each and every morning you should start with a big glass of water, maybe even better 2. Right? Like, I don't know how much you move, but depending on the movement that you do, you should increase your water intake as well. And it can sound like, you know, yeah, I know that, I drink enough water, I know that, but I know that most people actually drink too less of water. And especially quality water, right? Because water that stays in plastic, that is even not as good as water that we are in Wageningen actually very lucky, because we have one of the greatest waters coming from our tap. Maybe that's one of the reasons that we don't drink it enough, because it's so easy to get. It's like, it's not so fancy, right? Could that be? Like, does anyone have another idea why water is so like underrated here? Cheap. Anyone else? Cool. And I have a model actually, and I can use this model for other things as well. 1 second. I expect to have this cool like kit, you know, that I could use, but unfortunately, I have to pick another place next time. Then I can click finally, like next slide. Okay. So this is the pyramid to reconstruct and construct habits, and I'm actually one of the goal trainers. One of the other founders is here as well. It's Basurama. We help people with transformations, physical transformations at the beginning, but afterwards also mental, emotional, and even spiritual transformations is what we've seen. And I just want to share this with you because I believe this model is actually what most people do reverse. And just look at it, because it's quite valuable for me and for the procedures that we go through together if we get someone new. And how it starts is how it should start with, if you're building something, you start with like the fundamentals, right? Like you start at the ground. But what most people do, they start with the top, and they're looking at someone else's top, they say, hey, that's a nice top, I want that top too. And then they forget that they have to build a fundament, like a system in place. They have to get the right intention. They have to have the right mindset, the right systems or habits, and the right skills. And then the tools will like show you the top. But the tools are, for example, these energy drinks. Like that's a tool. Coffee, that's also a tool. And you can use that to get a little bit more energy. You can. But that's just off the top, right? It starts at the bottom. Everything starts at the bottom. But people forget that. They look at something fancy and they see it and they think like, I want that too. And then they are going to buy it, and then it doesn't do the same thing for them as they saw it. And they think like, why it doesn't work. And mostly what we found is that it's because people are not having the right intention when they buy it. Right? Most things are being bought and it's actually shiny object syndrome. You can actually write it down, like shiny object syndrome. That's what a lot of people, what I've seen in the West, are having, especially in the West. Like I've traveled to India and I see it way less there. Like people are so grateful with the books they can study, and yeah, you don't see them there like dreaming about fancy things all the time. So after you have your energy and your intention right, you can go through mindset. Right? So you start with your energy, your intention. Why do you want to do something? What's the reason you get out of bed in the morning? Like, for who are you doing it? What is the thing that you're after? Why do you want to make a change? That's where you start. Then the mindset that you are in it for the long game, because we're all after quick results, right? Like how fast do we want results nowadays? So fast. Like we see something and we can almost directly have it. Like it's also not your fault, it's not our fault, it's the fault of that everything is one click away from your door. So you can click and you get it in your door. Even your meal, so you don't even have to cook anymore, never if you don't want to, because you can just click and the meal comes to your door. And the reason that I think that is a little bit dangerous is because people are not learning the source anymore. Where is your food coming from? Some people even think, and this is no joke, and I know Wageningen is a little bit more conscious than average, but some people even think that hot dogs grow on trees. Like, it doesn't make so much sense anymore. Sean. And what is funny is that if you start with if you start at the intention, then you can actually build a strong habit for life. You can make something lasting, some change you're going to make in your lifestyle. If you desire that, if you want to lose weight, if you want to get fitter, if you want to get your health to the next level, then you always have to start with the intention. Like really write it down for yourself, and really take time to write it down. Yeah? Is that clear? Okay, then I want to go to mindset, just because I believe that so many people are doing things not totally for themselves. And they're doing it And it's great if you want to help others, but if you want to show off, and if that is your mindset, then you can actually look in the mirror someday and you feel like, wow, all the time that I thought that I wanted that, I actually wanted it not for myself, but I wanted to make my parents proud, or I wanted to do it because everybody expected that from me. Does that sound any familiar for someone? Like that you do something for someone else? Cool. Systems is the third one. That's great, because I believe that a lot of things what I've seen in, especially when we're helping people, that sometimes the body that people are after, the dream body so to speak, is not really the thing that they're really after. It's more the attention, the respect. Right? It's not the physical thing, it's not the tool, it's more the thing what they think they'll get because of the tool. So then what we also see a lot is that people, and especially like when it's not taught in school anymore, is how to construct habits. I don't know, like I've not been to school after my HBO, or you call it University of Applied Science. I've not been on standard university, but have you ever learned how to create healthy habits? What do you, who here, and not like standard, but who here got anything taught about nutrition at school? Is there anyone? And also secondary school? Yeah? Yeah, exactly. Verzorg. What was it that they taught you? How to brush your teeth. It's a great habit, right? Like, you need that habit in your life. For sure. Yeah? How to... Just like how to boil water. Yeah, but that's great. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, really. Is there someone else like that got anything from nutrition? I saw some other hands. Yeah? Biology? Do you remember like what they taught you about nutrition? Drink a lot of water. So eat a lot of vegetables and drink a lot of water. That are two great systems to have standard in your day, right? Like, so if we have those two systems standard in your day and you really do that and embrace it, I believe you're already one step ahead of a lot of people. And that's actually the one thing what, especially when I worked at a gym, that I saw so many people, they forget about those things. So they forget about the systems. They directly want to go to the skills or to the tools and pump themselves up with something that is not really working on the long term. So if we look at this model and we look at especially at the systems, it all starts with why do you want it? So why do you want to make a change? Because it's quite difficult, especially when you want to acquire a new habit. The older you are, the longer you've been in that old habit, the harder it will be for you to change. Right? So the older you are, the harder it will be to change. So you need really your strong intention. You really need, you're gonna, at least spend time on that every day. And research has shown that it's between 21 and 66 days before you will create a new habit. So that's quite long to really spend time on it every day. So after your systems, if you really create a system, your systems are in place, you have your new habit, then you can go to, okay, what kind of skill do I want to work on? What is the skill that I really want to acquire? Is it a new language? Is it something that I want to learn how to do a handstand? Like you saw me failing here, but I believe like you can keep failing, and after a while you will learn it. And then you can get the tools. And the tools was, for example, a wall. The tool is, for example, someone that can help you by doing it. Like you can have all the tools in your life, but if you don't have a clear system in place, not the right intention, not the right mindset, not the right systems, not the right skills, then it will fail. Like that's what we've seen a lot of times. Exactly. That was my part about the pyramid. Before I go to the quiz and to the last topic, I just want to ask you, like, is there anyone here that thinks like, hey, I know which part I have to change. Like, what is it in my life that I have to change? Is there anyone here that knows that? Like, I know I do something for so long already, but I know that I should change it actually. Is there someone here? Yeah, if you want, you can share that. Otherwise, you want to share? Eat more vegetables? Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Miele, you want to share something? Eat less chocolate. Eat less chocolate. Thanks. So, to come back to where I started, if you look around and you really just look around in awareness and you see all people like going through their day, and you realize, hey, there are actually people that have no legs or missing one leg or one arm, and that are also exercising to move their body. It's even shown that you will create new neurological patterns. You will actually get smarter when you move in new directions with your body. So when you learn new things with your body, you will also make new neurological patterns. Yeah? So let that be your reason to move, to get smarter. Let it be your reason to move, to inspire the people around you, your kids, if you don't have kids yet, your parents, your friends. Everybody here deserves a well and healthy body. And I believe you do too. Thanks for listening. So, yeah, you can get a drink if you want again, and then we go to the quiz. And if you watched on, then you have the opportunity to win these amazing prizes. This is a book of, actually she's living in Wageningen, Femi Brug. It's the mother of Niels, wife of Jeff here, and she's a yoga teacher, and especially for children. I just want to address that here. I believe that it's actually a vital part, and that is something that is missing at school, that kids should get yoga at school, and that's not what's happening. So if you think that that's true as well, if you're interested in the topic, pay close attention in the quiz, because you can win the book. Cool. So 5 minutes break, and then we go on to the quiz. Is that alright?